Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Are you ready for getting into the world of superstitions? You are excited, right?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Let me introduce myself. I am Morgan. Today I am going to present Sacred Arms at Toastmasters. So let's dive into the today's topic. After joining Toastmasters, every time people ask me why you joined my Toastmasters, what you gained from them, right? Let's take it. Okay. I want to one question from you. Yes, anyone knows what is the mission of Toastmasters? Somebody. What is the mission of Toastmasters? Yeah.
Provide us supportive and nurturing environment to develop one's communication and leadership skills.
Nice. Anyone else? Tech lead? Next. Mission of Toastmasters. Right. Okay. It's a good answer. First of all, it's a good character. Okay. We will go deep into that. Let's call. Sorry, I forgot his name. Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. He is the one who introduced Toastmaster. Let's call Dr. Ralph C. Smedley. I think he died. He can't come now, right? Okay. Along with me, let's come the ghost. The ghost of Ralph C. Smedley right now. Let's say, okay, come Ralph say two. Here. Say along with me. Come Ralph say two here.
Come, Ralph, say to me here.
Three times.
Come, Ralph, say to me here. Come, Ralph, say to me here.
Hey, I am Ralph C. Smedley. I am the one who introduced us Toastmaster into the world. In 1974, I started Toastmaster in the YMCA basement along with me couple of my friends. That's why I started. The mission of Toastmaster is actually it's very simple and very powerful. Convert the people into public speaking and leaders in a friendly environment. That's the mission of the Toastmaster. And the thing is, the mission is fine. How we get into that? It's a community of communicators who can create along with everyone to become everyone into a public speaking is a superstition, right? It's getting a fear. We have to get rid of the superstition fear and make everyone into a good public speaker, right? That's a pure mission of the Toastmasters. Am I right? Okay. Now that's done. My work's done. Cool. I believe. That's me. Ralph is better. Okay. Today we're getting right now. It's me, Morgan. What is the role of Sacred at Arms? They have three things. Let me guide through what are the things. First, while speaking, everyone, if somebody speaking, it's not getting any distraction. So that's why I give you 5 seconds. While in the 5 seconds, everyone please put your phones on silent or switch off your mode. Put your phones on silent. Done? Okay. Nice. Next thing is, if you want anything urgent, if you want your restroom, it was in the downstairs left side. But I hope you nobody got lost while somebody speaking. So please prepare on that. The next thing is, that's it, right? Yes. Let me introduce. That's the role of Sacred Songs. Let's deep into the world of situation today. Let me introduce Piyush, the president officer of today, who is MBA by education, but he is vice president of the club, who loves traveling, gardening, MBA by education, but banking by professional. Let me introduce Piyush for the wonderful.
Thank you, Mohan, for the warm welcome. With the stroke of the gavel, I would officially start the meeting number 31 of Whitefield Toastmasters Club. The first thing I would like to do is I would like to welcome all my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Today's welcome would be with a twist. We see usually lot many guests, but many of us don't know their names. So from today onwards, we are going to start a bit of guest introduction. So we request all the new guests who are coming there here for the first time, or any guest who want them to be introduced, to stand up at their own places. Any new guests we have? Please, can you stand up? All three of you. And I would like to just introduce yourself by three things. First is your name. Second is one line about yourself. And third thing is, what do you expect to take away from today's meeting?
Good morning everyone. My name is Aditya Arya, and this thing about me that I've always liked one thing that I love to challenge myself. So I have this fear of stages. I am not at all a good communicator, and the sole reason for attending this meeting today is because my parents simply told me in all of anger that hey man, you should go and show yourself out there in front of people. You need to do it. Don't worry about how much you are investing inside investment. That's gonna give loads of return. So this was the reason for me to join today's session. And one thing that I'm going to take away from today's session as a guest attendee is I want to look at how people from different backgrounds, a diverse crowd, how do they deliver their speeches, and I just want to take all of it back home and practice on the same and incorporate those things in my upcoming speech. That is it.
Thanks a lot, Aditya. Over to you, Arvind.
Good morning, all. My name is Vinu. I professor in the career government and we are the group and actually, the purpose for today is not for today. For a long time, I was looking for a market club nearby this society, but unfortunately, I was not able to get. But 2 days back, I got some message in the group. Might be it was wrong window, but I got that message and I came to this group is there, so I came to attend this. So looking forward to meet with everyone, discuss and my divine values of listening all of you here.
Thank you, Arvind. Over to you, Nitin.
Good morning, all. Myself, this man from Kerala. I came actually. Long back, I was person till now I didn't have an session. Yesterday, I went to service first day. So, only I was telling Nitin that, I work actually I can manage work with someone who are relevant to me. It is more than 10 people I can go through. But when it comes to this public speaking, we need to have that skill. So I saw that and I was like, the same thing is going to happen here also. People will come and speak and notes. So what I like in Toastmasters from that experience is like, each person are assessing the speech sessions. So they are coming back and they are dissecting and they are giving good advices and the points to be, they need to be work on. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Nitin. And a loud applause for Aditya, Tanvu, and Nitin. Thank you. Now, speaking about today's theme, superstition. It is a global theme. It's not only specific to India, but India it is practiced at a different level altogether. I recall one childhood experience on this, that whenever I used to go for any exam or anything big thing I had to do, my mother would always give me dahi and chini. She always says that this will bring good luck. And when I was a kid, at most 10% of me was with the line of Sheldon Cooper. So it always used to debate that what is this curd and sugar is going to do. But today, 15 years after, I realized that curd and sugar do have some scientific value to it, that once it goes into stomach, it controls your acidity, it keeps your stomach good, as well as sugar, it gives you energy. So these are the things scientifically which makes you excel in whatever you are going to do. Now this is one of superstition which I find has some scientific benefits. There are few, not many, which I don't find it, like Kali Billi Rasta Kato. So what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out any scientific explanation for this. And hope with today's session, with our team OD would be able to demystify this and many more such superstitions. So a few brief words about our TMOD. He's a aeronautics engineer who has been working in aeronavigation field. Now those who are a bit confused with aeronavigation, just keep this in mind. If you're flying a plane and the pilot faces any issue with navigation, he's the guy who can hold for that. Not just that, he has been a Toastmaster recently and he's taking up lot many active roles in the XCOM as well as many other roles. For him, Toastmaster is like an amazing pack of gifts which include public speaking, networking, leadership skill and whatnot. With this, I would like to invite our TMOD forward today, Toastmaster Akshay.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, for that introduction. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Did any one of you notice what I did there before coming onto the stage? Did any one of you notice? I believe the front benchers noticed. Like, obviously, Presiding Officer noticed. I touched the floor before entering the stage, this arena. Why I touched the floor? Because maybe for right now, this arena, this stage, this area is kind of sacred for me. Maybe. And me touching the floor is giving it more respect. And me touching the floor at the same time is instilling a sense of inner belief in me that I will be doing justice with my role today. The best version of TMOD, you can say. But what if I am not prepared for the role? Will touching the floor still help me? No, of course not. It will not help me. So what is this kind of thing called? This is called superstition. You are relying on this thing and you are not prepared back at home, and then you are coming on the stage and you are thinking in the mind, oh, I have touched the floor, I will perform. So it is superstition, ladies and gentlemen. Superstition, a word which brings instantly a lot of memories, maybe from our childhood or maybe something which we might have practiced back at our home last week itself. There are so many of those practices, it's a part and parcel. Whether it is eating sweet curd, which supposedly brings good luck, or maybe a little bit more numbers, then we can, earn, or maybe adding that extra coin to that cash gift which we are giving to our relatives, making it even more auspicious. Again, supposedly. I believe superstition is a very relatable theme, and therefore I would like to open a room for 2 quick superstition which any one of you would like to share with every one of us. 2 quick superstition. You can stand from your place and you can share that superstition which has been followed. Anyone from the audience? Sure, sir. You can share from there itself. Yeah. Right. I have heard a lot about this, I believe, from my grandmother, actually. Sure. I'll quickly open room for 2 more, quickly with him, the guest.
So one more superstition that I have seen in my home,
Mhm.
I know it's probably in a lot of homes, that we cannot cut our nails on Tuesdays, Thursdays
Yeah.
and Saturdays.
I think every one of us has heard that. Quickly, Toastmaster Nidhi.
These different cricketers, they have certain superstition like with the bat or the jersey number and all of that. So I don't remember the exact ones, but they have some peculiar habit that they do before they start the bat.
I agree. Some of them, I think, put their right feet, into the pitch first and all those things. A huge round of applause for all 3 Toastmasters. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. We'll again jump on the bandwagon of superstition, but right now, about my role today, you might have heard about the managers in your office places, right? So, some of you might be managers in your office place. For today's meeting, meeting number 31 of Whitefield Toastmasters, I am the manager of the meeting. And in Toastmasters term, a manager is called TMOD, Toastmaster of the Day. So as Toastmaster of the Day, it's one of my duties to explain everyone the sections of meeting. So any Toastmaster meeting is divided into 3 sections. The first one is the prepared speech, the second one is the evaluation section, and third one is table topics. But today we have a streak of 6 ice-breaking speeches, and therefore, because of the time constraint, we are skipping the table topic section. So we are left with 2 sections. First one is the prepared speech, and second one is the evaluation section. Okay. And moving on to the evaluation section, any speech is incomplete without feedback. Everyone knows that. It's a very cliche statement, but still it implements to every speech. So that section will be taken over by General Evaluator DTM Nibi, who is ex-area director, and right now she is playing the role of area A4 mentor as well. Apart from this, there are many other feathers added onto her cap, and please help me welcome DTM Nibi onto the stage.
Very good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can we have a little bit more energy in this meeting? Yes. Everybody had breakfast here? If not, I think there are some snacks towards the end, right? Yeah, okay. So just conserve your energy and make sure that you enjoy the meeting. You're here, participate in the meeting as much as possible. Alright, my role as a general evaluator is to evaluate everything about this meeting, look for good examples of preparation and look at areas of improvement for role takers, speakers, as well as the meeting as a whole. And to help me in my role today, I have the tag team, which is the timer, our counter and grammarian. So our timer for today is someone who is from Uttarakhand, raised in Maharashtra. By profession, she is a market researcher and loves cooking, painting and gardening. Put your hands together and give a huge round of welcome to Toastmaster Nibi.
Thank you, Nidhi, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I'm Nidhi, and today I'll be taking the role of the timekeeper for the meeting. And let's just discuss the time which is allotted. So for icebreakers, the time given is from 4 minutes to 6 minutes. The time given for prepared speeches is from 5 minutes to 7 minutes. The time given for each of the evaluator to evaluate the speech will be 2 to 3 minutes. I mean, not to evaluate, but to present their evaluation report will be 2 to 3 minutes. And today we don't have the table topic session, but usually we give 1 to 2 minutes to each of the table topic speakers to express their thoughts. So as a timer, today I'll be helping all our speakers to express their thoughts in the given time limits. And to help me with my role effectively, I have a set of 3 color cards. So the green one indicates that the speaker has reached the qualifying time of the speech. The yellow one will refer that the speaker has reached the target time of the speech, and the red one will indicate that the speaker has reached the maximum time allotted for the speech. Apart from this, additional 30 seconds will be given to each of the speakers to wrap up their speeches. Thank you. Back to you.
Maybe 1 minute before you go back. Can you also indicate showing the card at how many minutes? So 4 minutes?
Yeah. So today, as we just have the icebreaker sessions, so I show the green card when the time reaches 4 minutes. The yellow one I show when it is 5 minutes, and the red one at 6 minutes. Similarly, for evaluation, I'll show the green card at 2 minutes, the yellow one at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the red one at 3 minutes. That's it.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nidhi. As our counter today, we have a Toastmaster who works as a technical lead in an automotive company and is a big foodie, loves cooking and exploring new things. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Purushottam.
Good morning, all of you. So, somebody says that silence is eloquent than words. So, if you are using silence between 2 sentences, then this practice is very good in speech delivery. So today I am here, capturing the words that will use in place of silence between the sentences.
So as a counter, I will capture the bird, just like bird, right, you and and at the end of the at the end, I will give the report to every speakers so that they can take the feedback and they can improve in the future for these birds. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Purushottam. And last but not the least, we have someone taking up the grammarian role. The Toastmaster is a principal solution architect in a telecom company in the area of observability, application performance management, and IT service management. Outside of work, he enjoys reading books, loves long walks, listening to old Hindi music, and loves to go for long and short drives. Please put your hands together and welcome Toastmaster Nitin as a grammarian for the day.
Hello and good morning everybody.
Good morning.
I am Nitin and I am your Englishman today, the grammarian. What an interesting thing today, superstition, and we have a fitting word for it, and the word of the day today is fallacy. Fallacy means deceptive, misinformation, false nature, false belief, false notion, erroneous logic. In gist, it means any false idea based on false knowledge or reasoning. And I am looking for from our today's prepared speakers that they make use of this word generously. And I would also request fellow Toastmasters that whenever this word is used in a right sense, then please acknowledge our speakers by giving a thumbs up. Along with the word of the day today, my job is also to listen to your speeches very carefully. So I'll be making note of the good use of language, and at the same time I will also be making note of not so good use of the language. And when at the end of all the prepared speeches I'll be called upon, I will read that report in front of you. Along with that, if I get some time, I will share a tiny bit of interesting information if time permits. So that's all for today, and all the best to all the prepared speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nitin. Along with the tag team, I will also have a team of evaluators who will help me in evaluating the speeches for the day. And let's not keep it as a common fallacy that it's only the role takers who have to use the word of the day. Today we have 6 icebreakers, so I request everybody to stand up and give a standing ovation after every speech. With that, back to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, General Evaluator DTMDB, for explaining the roles, and thank you, the tag team, for explaining their respective roles. So, ladies and gentlemen, before moving on to the first speech, there is one thing left, because for this meeting we are not calling the evaluators individually onto the stage to explain the objective of the speech, like the L1, P1 and their objective, level 1, project 1, because every objective is same only. So I will repeat the objective for the speech and the evaluators, for the speakers and the evaluators just for once, for every speaker and evaluator. So for L1, P1, which is the icebreaker, irrespective of the pathways, the purpose for the speaker is to introduce themselves and learn the basic structure of public speech. This is for the speakers. And for the evaluators, the notes are give effective evaluation of their speech and delivery style. And the second thing is already covered by the general evaluator itself. After the speaker has done with their speeches, you have to give them a standing ovation. Don't forget on that. So shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. So our first speaker is Toastmaster Shivam. He is a technical consultant. And when I asked Shivam about this thing that are you superstitious about anything in your life? So he was very confident in his answer. He said on my face that I am not superstitious about anything. A brave move. Toastmaster Shivam, it's not about the finish line. It's not about the finish line, Toastmaster Shivam. painted bright, a journey woven by the colors of light. And it is not about the destination's delight, but the cherished moment every day and night. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, I stand before you to deliver my heartfelt thoughts on the topic, it's not about the finish line. So, let's take you down to the memory lanes in the fun of my childhood. When I was a 5-year-old, cute little boy with twinkling eyes. And believe me guys, when I say that I was cute, I used to get more female attention back then than the BTS army get nowadays. I was that cute. But anyways, time changes. Back to the story. So, in the school, a sports meet was being organized. In this sports meet, there were different events which were being organized. One of them was a 3-leg race. Me and my best friend, we decided to take part in this race. So we registered. And the day arrived. And a large crowd of 50 people arrived to witness this sporting spectacle. Me and my friend, we were determined to get to that finish line and be the first. But the fate had different plans for us. As the race began and we started hoping towards the finish line, step by step. We stumbled, but we laughed. We failed, but we laughed. And to add to that mystery, my friend's school pant came down. But guess what? We laughed the loudest. The joy of being together, supporting each other and having fun overweighed the desire to win. And at that moment of life, I realized the biggest fallacy, that is the fallacy to get to that finish line. I realized that it is more about cherishing the moments in your life, about learning and appreciating the failures in your life. But friends, as we grow older and as the family expectations or societal expectations come on us, we forget this very basic lesson which we might have learned somewhere down in our life, that it is about the journey. We forget that every failure is a stepping stone which ultimately will help us to learn, to evolve and to grow. Similar things started happening with me. When I grew older and when I went into higher classes, I appeared for multiple competitive exams, Navodaya, JEE, Olympiads, and every time I was knocked down by the life. I failed in each and every competitive exam in early on in my life. Also, there was one occasion when I was given a chance to step on the stage on the occasion of 15th August, and I was completely blank. I was not able to speak anything. Did I fail on all this occasion? Yes, I failed, literally, because at least in the eyes of the people, at least I started believing it, that I failed. But if you look me today, I might have not been able to conquer that competitive exam. But today, I have conquered one of the toughest MBA exam of the country, CAT. Not only that, I have also got admission in the top 6 IIMs of the country. On that occasion, I might have not been able to speak on the 15th of August, but today I am delivering my speech, my first icebreaker speech before you all guys. Wasn't all that experiences, when I was not able to get to that finish line, worth it? Wasn't all that courage which I took early on in my life, but was not able to make it, counted? It did. Steve Jobs rightly said that you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. So, as I stand today here before you, I feel very grateful that I realized this biggest fallacy of the finish line, wherein there might be multiple situations where we might not be able to cross that finish line, we might not be able to get to the mark, but every time we took that courage, we have grown, we have evolved and we have learned. So, if you guys allow me, I want to conclude my speech with 2 poetic lines, a शायरी. So here it goes. शाम सूरज को ढलना सिखाती है, क्षमा परवाने को जलना सिखाती है, गिरने वाले को तकलीफ तो होती है बहुत, लेकिन ये ठोकरें ही है जो इंसान को चलना सिखाती है. Thank you everyone for your time. sound of the claps says it all actually. It was a marvelous speech and no fumbles at all in the first speech itself. I remember my first speech, the icebreaker, which was not long back, it was in February itself. I was kind of shit in bricks actually. So, kudos to you, it was a great speech, isn't it right?
Yes.
So moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Nahush. I call him the humor guy. Slipping humor between the talks is a very rare ability, and he has those abilities. He's a software guy, and when I asked him about this thing, that are you superstitious about anything in your life? So he told me a story, but I'll not tell that story right now. Let's hear him first, and I'll come back to this story. Toastmaster Nahush. An unprepared speech, Toastmaster Nahush.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I am Nahush and I will be talking about my icebreaker speech today. So yeah, before I start off, I would like to point out the fact that I've been a part of this club for 9 months now, and this is my first speech. So you can guess that I'm very early to the orator scene. So in fact, my speech was initially scheduled to be on the 21st of May, but due to my inability to prepare on time, I got it postponed by another 2 months, and here I am today presenting my speech. And I'm sure in the process I would have really frustrated our VP head here. In fact, at one point, I ended up filling the speech form incorrectly because I was absolutely clueless on how to go about it, and I don't know how he tolerated me through all of that. Yeah, so given the amount of time I've had to prepare for the speech, you would expect something good is coming up. Folks, please keep your expectations low if you don't want to be disappointed. So here I go. 23 years is a long time, and I'm definitely not skilled enough to boil it down into a 6-minute speech. This was very frustrating during my preparation, and I really needed to do something about this. So I just decided, you know what, I'll just speak about how I prepared for the speech itself. So I had to start somewhere, and I was clueless, so I decided to take the help of one of my friends. And this friend of mine, who happens to be a prominent figure actually in the Toastmaster setting, some of you may know him, suggested that I follow a standard template to these speeches. So he recommended that I should have an introduction, follow them up with 3 key moments in my life, and then combine them all into an apt conclusion. So we thought about what we could say for each segment, and I'll just narrate them over to you guys. So for example, for introduction, I could say something like, good morning fellow Toastmasters, I'm Nahush, and I was born and brought up in a remote village named Kumta, where I would wrestle lions on my route to Montessori lectures every day. Then for this first key moment in my life, I could say something like, then we moved to a small town named Maharashtra where we lived for 5 years, after which we went to Dubai, which was a huge culture shock to me, the Middle East. Then the second key point could be something like, I was a reticent kid, quite shy, and my relatives thought I was slow. So I surprised them all by getting into bits for engineering. And then third, I did good in college, and eventually I got a job at LinkedIn as a software engineer. But I was unhappy with my communication skills, so I decided to join Toastmasters, where I could improve it. So coming to a conclusion that we haven't thought of yet, because I was unprepared and didn't really think through that. And as for the veracity of these 3 key moments that I mentioned, I leave it to you folks to decide which ones are true and which ones are false, or you could say fallacies, as a matter of fact. And the Toastmasters bit was added so as to get brownie points with the evaluators. So evaluators, please be kind. Moving forward with my preparation, I was not happy with this template. It was quite generic for me, and I wanted to do something different. But at the same time, didn't want to expend too much effort preparing for the speech. So I decided that I'll jot down 3 points and I'll adhere to them strongly. So the first of the 3 points is that this is an icebreaker speech, so it has to be a minimum of 4 minutes and maximum 6 minutes as the timer suggested. So I keep my speech to a maximum of 5 minutes because that's like the midpoint between 4 and 6, and symmetries are like good. Then second point is that since this is my icebreaker, I have to speak about myself. That I've already done with the 3 key points, so I'm not going to go by that again. And then the third point, which I believe is the main one among all, is that this is my first speech. So I'll be judged leniently by the evaluators. So I have like all the freedom to speak ridiculous things on the stage, do whatever I want. So that is when I realized that I could say something legitimate for 3 minutes and follow that up with 2 minutes of gibberish just to clear the 5-minute mark. That's just my goal. So since the green flag was shown and keeping third point in mind, I'd like to conclude my speech now. I'd like to conclude it speaking about global warming. And this part is a bit too factual for me, and I could not memorize it, so I've written it down. So I'll just narrate it over to you folks. Yeah, global warming is a phenomenon where the average temperature of the earth is increasing because of the fumes/pollutants released by factories that are run by Homo sapiens. These Homo sapiens, who happen to be carbon-based bipedal life forms that are descended from the apes, are quite smart, whatever. Sadly, they also happen to be greedy. And in fact, they themselves seem to agree upon this fact, because a famous primate himself said, "We have enough for our needs but not for our greed." Yeah, so trust me folks, global warming is pretty bad. The increasing temperatures have caused the icebergs to break and melt apart, and hence you could see that it's a great icebreaker. Yeah, icebreaker speech. Sorry for that. Yeah.
Before the speech, I was talking about the humor, so now it is pretty evident, right? So I was talking about this humor. So he can slip the humors between the speech, and it was the icebreaker. It was impromptu, come stand-up comedy, come icebreaker, everything in one package, right? So about that story which he told me before coming on to the next speaker, about the story he told me when I asked him this question about the superstition. So he told me that dustbin story. I named it the chit story. I have also done that a lot many times. Suppose you are in a situation and you are in a room and there is a dustbin just in your vicinity. So you make chits out of paper and you have some task in your mind which is yet to be done. Okay. So you open the dustbin and you make a target. If the chits lands in the dustbin, you will be able to do that. The thing which is going in your mind. And if it is outside, you try again, or maybe you feel like, oh, today I cannot do that task. So that is his kind of superstition, and I relate to that. I have also practiced that maybe sometimes in my office. Moving on to the next speaker, the third speaker of the day. He is Toastmaster Bhima, and he is doing Bachelor of Computer Applications. He is the first year graduate. Okay, and Toastmaster Bhima is also not superstitious about anything in his life. When I asked him this question, this was his answer. Toastmaster Bhima, golden right, Toastmaster Bhima.
That's a boy. The nurse spoke loudly inside the operation theatre and followed by my two sisters, who thought now they have someone. This is how I came into existence in this new world. I was born in a month of Jan, 22nd Jan 2005. So, there was a new boy in the house. Everyone was keen to make his new name. On the fifth day, one of my uncle came up with a super name, which is also one of the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and dear guest, I am Bhima Shankar. I am wishing you a very good morning.
Good morning.
Allow me to take you all with a roller coaster ride of my life. Life is nothing but a roller coaster. Fun doesn't begin when you are on top. It starts with the unexpected turns and transitions. As every roller coaster has smooth start. Likewise, mine started with my sweet family along with my parents and brother and sister. I have other 15 aunts and uncles. As an overall effect, I have 20 plus cousins. When we all ended up at one place, you cannot even imagine how Okay. As every roller coaster has its slight transition. Mine started as a standard average boy in a standard school. Earlier, I used to go by walk on then on a bicycle. So, well, our roots are from Gulbarga. My father is from Karnataka, my mother is from Maharashtra. They somehow ended up in Gulbarga. So, I am from Gulbarga. The time was for first transition. Standard 9, I decided I want to get first rank in this class. And little did I know that there is also called something teenage home. Cupid hit me with the sharpest arrow and I had my first crush in my life, a girl. Oh my god, the whole year passed in the dilemma, studies and crush. And I ended up scoring first rank. Standard time, that time I was demanding, experienced people you know. Okay. I got the first thing in the history of my schooling with a 90% in NCRT. I was very happy. My parents were more than happy. Oh, this doesn't stop here. My near and far relatives were too happy. But the most important bunch of people in my life, neighbors. You can't make your neighbors happy while you are succeeding. Keep in mind that. A lot of transition and turns came. Change of school. I chose science stream. And those 2 years of 11th and 12th science, and people generally put their all efforts to score as high as possible in those 2 rates. I did too, but in exactly opposite world. The result came, and as I expected, I screwed up. I was very disappointed. My parents were not, because they know how I prepared. Then, the near and far was very disappointed. Then, the most important bunch of people in my life, neighbors. This time they were actually happy. After this, the thing came. Admissions in National College. After this thing came, admission in National College. Well, it's a humongous task, especially when you are a general category, a boy. The thing which I hated throughout my science stream was mathematics. The department which I got admission was computer application core mathematics. Why, if I have to give, I can give 2 reasons. First, I was getting admission in autonomous college. Second, that was the only department which I was getting admission in that college. Those 2 cents are really good. I improved lot of in that 2 cents. I started playing badminton, and I became a good in playing cricket. I improved my dance, and last sem I started acting in drama. Now, in your life, you also need something which will motivate you. For me, it's my 12th standard result. So, all in all life, it's a roller coaster ride. So, the roller coaster has its ups and downs, left and rights. Sometimes it takes 360-degree turns also. It's upon you, whether you scream or put your hands up in the air. Thank you. Over to you.
round of applause once again for Toastmaster. Toastmaster Bhima, I just want to say one thing. You stayed. That is more important. You stayed here and you tried again and you tried to fight your the demons, the inner demons, the pressure which everyone feels when they come on the stage for the first time. And that is more important. Moving on, we have a little bit of time, so I would like to share one story from my childhood. Are you ready for the story? So I believe many of you might have heard that story already, but let's see, I will reiterate. Whenever I used to eat the vegetable or the sabji in utensil, the utensil is there, right, in which it is cooked. Sometimes I am very hungry and I came after playing volleyball or something, so I started eating in that only. Sometimes I remember these memories from my childhood. My mother used to say, do not eat in this. Reason, anyone would like to say? Yes. It will ruin your marriage. And in the last month itself, I was noticing rain in Bangalore as well as all the parts of India. Somewhere I was bound to think that I think everyone is eating in this utensil these days. It is raining all over. North, south, east, west, everywhere it is raining. One of the superstitions or fallacies we can say, in which we fall upon. Sometimes I used to believe actually, literally, like you just used to imagine sitting in that mandap and it started raining. Because of what thing? I ate in that utensil in childhood. Literally. Anyways, moving on to the next speaker for the day. The speaker number 4, Toastmaster Vikas, who is a tech lead in a software firm, and he is again also not superstitious about many things. Toastmaster Vikas, the best decision I ever made, Toastmaster Vikas.
Standing at the bottom, looking at the sky, how you can win the battle even if you don't try. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vikas Kumar. It was the year of 2005-2006 when I was searching for good engineering college for pursuing my BTech degree. Leaving my hometown, I embarked on my journey to Bangalore with no guidance, no support from my family members, my relatives. No one was there to show me a path, a way. I have decided by my own self and came from Ranchi to Bangalore. I had like uncertain path, but I had a dream. I had a dream of attaining a good quality education. I had a dream of following my passion. I had a dream of doing something different, doing some difference in my life. With the good rank in COMEDK exam, if you heard about COMEDK is in Karnataka exam, so I had a good rank and I was eligible for getting getting admission in colleges, different colleges in and around Bangalore. So, but only thing is that my family financial situation was having the limitation, and it was playing a role of obstacle. Then I have decided to go for the open options, what is for me. I have decided to visit 2-3 colleges to know their fee structure, infrastructure and the campus placement record around Bangalore. My pocket money was meager and I was in frugal mindset. Sometimes I laugh those days when I remember those memories. I used to travel in BMTC buses to go different colleges without even taking BMTC tickets. Almost like in all colleges after visit, it was coming with food and lodging around 8 to 10 lakhs rupees, including the college fees. I had a discussion with my father. He told that, okay, let's sell one portion of our house, but I refused to let that happen. But I didn't give up. I returned to my home, and it was like my dream. My dream was at risk actually, and it was like kind of shattered completely, and I was having in my mind fallacy that okay, I will just pursue my dream. Then I returned back to my home, and I started preparing for the next exam. My effort paid off, and then my effort paid off, and I got a very good rank in West Bengal JEE examination. There I got a good government college, and just I think, and also a scholarship I got it, and within 1 to 2 lakhs I was able to get a like complete graduation with very good academic record, and I have graduated with excellence. My friend, this is not the journey of, I am not alone. There are many students across the country, those who are facing similar type of challenges. But here my intention is to share the story, is that what is my learning out of this experience. So I always remember this formula of LDRP from my story. Always I go back and I see that okay, I have to go to this path. So L for look for any alternative options. If the option is not working, if the plan is not working, go and look for another option, another alternative, because God has definitely have a plan for us to look forward. We should not give up. D means don't give up, embrace challenges. R means always respect hard-earned money, whether it's your parents' money or whether you are earning by your own. P means practice financial discipline, meaning that we have to save our money, at least some portion, like maybe 10% if we are salaried or if we are having some income monthly. With this, I am sure that my story resonates with many, and it serves as an inspiration and embrace the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vikas. I liked your conclusion, LDRP. It is a good takeaway. Maybe we can implement the same within our life for a small period of time, and we can test it out if it works for us. LDRP, I repeat it again if any one of you have missed. So moving on to our second last speaker, Toastmaster Ujjwal. I always liked his profession. I again like to reiterate the same thing. He is a business analyst in a beer producing company. So I get my incentive. I said the same thing in the last meeting, so I'll repeat it again just for the sake of guest. I get my incentive, I go to the beer shop. He gets the incentive in terms of beer itself. Just kidding. Toastmaster Ujjwal, work in progress, Toastmaster Ujjwal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay, for the introduction. Good morning, my dear Toastmasters and fellow guests. So the year was 1997. I was born in a small town called Bijnor in Uttar Pradesh. Fortunately, that small town was an even smaller part of my life because my father used to work in Delhi. Delhi, for all its perceived shortcomings now, was the place where I spent the best days of my life. Great school, good friends, and for a person like me, who lives for food, I think Delhi is the best place to be. But all good things comes to an end. So my time in Delhi was also limited. After spending 12 years of my initial life there, we moved to a small town called Raichur in Karnataka. It is in northern Karnataka. Raichur was actually a good place for me. Why? Because from an average student in Delhi, my IQ had suddenly increased 10-15 points. people in Raichur used to see me as a brilliant student. And that as a teenager, when you crave attention, you crave acceptance from your peers, that was a great thing for me. And as a family also, my family was able to save a lot more money when compared to Delhi. So that is a different case, that most of the saved money was poured into my education, whose return of investment has been questionable. So now coming to the part why that ROI has been questionable, let me just pivot to my education. So for 11th and 12th, after my stellar 10th results, and I think most of you must have a good 10th results. So like I was confident, my parents were overconfident of my abilities. So the proverbial middle class dream to be an IITian was hatched. The plan of being an IITian was hatched. In Almira, Godrej, Almira, if you call, full of books was the ammunition that was planned to be used, and suddenly the plan was in action. I say this with a lot of pride, that for those 2 years I worked hardest in my life. I have not worked hard before that, and I have not worked as hard as I did on those 2 years after that. But the 10 to 15 point IQ, if you remember, was a fallacy. It was nothing like that had happened. It was just a small town syndrome. So forget about IIT. I could not even make it to a reputed NIT. So after that, the saved money came into the picture and got me an admission into VIT Vellore. But I was already disenchanted with the hard work. I was feeling like I worked so hard for 2 years. Now what is the use of all this studying? So I enjoyed my 4 years completely, and I have no regrets about that. While away your time, just one night before the exam, open your books, go give your exam, and the exhilaration that you feel when you pass that exam, that is different experience, and I'm happy that I did not read much in that 4 years. I'm totally content with that. But by the end of those 4 years, fortunately, I was enchanted with one more important thing, making money. I wanted to make money again. So, as an absolution of my 4 years sins of not studying, I decidedly chose a company which was notorious for its work-life balance. So the company's name is, if you are not interested to work for the company, for your own benefit I am telling you, is Mu Sigma. I chose to work for Mu Sigma for 2 years, and I again gave it all. I worked my ass off, but this time, though it was a deja vu of my Hyderabad days, I had something that could be useful, not unlike the Hyderabad days where I, for me, this Oppenheimer, all that. That was not useful, but this time it was all useful, and as actually rightfully said, that yes, those things helped me get my dream job. Corona, Budweiser, Ho Garden, all these things I get free every month. So definitely it's a great job for me. So that, yes, I am happy that how my life has panned till now. And what I more importantly feel is that the person you see standing before you is a culmination of the parts of different cities. So from Delhi, I learned what is a good time, how to have it, and that good time never really stays forever. From Raichur and its people, I learned from its people is as in the South India. Coming from a boisterous and show off Delhi kind of culture to South India was a good experience, I would say, because I really saw the value of simple living, high thinking. And one more important thing that I understood from Raichur was that what is the adultation of your peers? What is to live the high life? When you are popular, what is that? So that also I could experience in Raichur. Now coming to Hyderabad, where I spent my 11th and 12th, and then further to my college, VIT Vellore. There I experienced a crash course of crash landing, and then what is it again to pick up your pieces. So that is what I've been doing in Bangalore, picking up the pieces and trying to rebuild again. But this is the takeaway. To enjoy your life, I think you have to be in a perpetual work in progress. And that is what I think I should try to remember, and you should also try to remember on all your days, good and bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ujjwal. Perpetual work in progress is a great takeaway. I have never thought about this thing. I have thought about work in progress and keep doing some things, but the perpetual work in progress is the takeaway which I take from Toastmaster Ujjwal's speech. And I loved the synchronization between your hands and your speech. The stage movement in the first speech itself was really good. The synchronization and the high and the lows. I loved that. Moving on to the last speaker of the day, Toastmaster Anas. He is a software engineer working with Amazon, and he gave me a very different answer when I asked him about the superstition. I asked him the same question, that are you superstitious about anything in your life? So he said he is not superstitious about anything, but his friends think that if they treat him with a good food once a month, then it will be a good luck for them. It was a good answer, and I hope it is true. So Toastmaster Anas, breaking rules, Toastmaster Anas. All the best.
If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun and excitement. This quote perfectly encapsulates my life so far. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to share with you how I managed to have fun and grab opportunities at different stages of my life so far. Whether it was my early childhood, during my school days, or while pursuing my dreams. I was born between my elder and my younger brother, and this situation of being sandwiched in the middle still continues. I was expected to respect my elder brother and love my younger one, and this often resulted in them receiving all the attention and favors while I felt left out. I was expected to respect my elder brother and love my younger one, and because of this, they often received more attention and favors and I felt left out. Post that, the only time I remember I was being pampered well was when I got unwell, and even though I excelled academically and my siblings did struggle with their studies, I was often criticized for getting a second or a third place while they were pardoned for their poor marks. It's only now that I realize that it was my fallacy, that I was adopted one and my parents were biased, but it was a genuine concern for my future and success. All thanks to them that all three of us are doing well in life right now. So moving on to the next phase of my life, my schooling took place in Jamshedpur, that's also known as Tatanagar, and with strict parents, I became one of the most innocent students. As an incident from my 8th standard will exemplify my innocence to you. While we were in 8th standard, we had a chemistry teacher. She was usually unhappy with the class due to our unpleasant pranks, and one day she punished some of us for not bringing our books, and she asked us to stand outside of the class, and she also instructed us to just have our parents sign a note in our diaries. The note read, "I have not brought my chemistry book." So as usual, I was not willing to go home with this complaint, and something had to be done. So the clever me took a whitener and just erased the note from the note and made it, "I have brought my chemistry book." I shared this with my co-backbenchers and couldn't help but giggle about it. The teacher noticed that and she checked my diary and made that day a memorable one to share. In between all such incidents and an utterly mischievous childhood, I also have some dreams to share. I am a dreamer and I chose to become a software engineer. Although I have hobbies like football, dancing, reading, I am also passionate about coding and I aspire to turn this passion into a startup someday. Since then, my life has been a part of my life has been marked with several incidents, breaking the rule incidents, and I would keep them for some other day. I have lots of them to share. I have come to realize that in order to fulfill my dreams, I need to be prepared well. And to achieve that, one way of doing that is by focusing on what I do the best. I started programming when I was in 9th standard, continued that throughout my college, and participated in hackathons and coding contests. Back in college, I also started a small e-commerce based platform for the hostelers to order their daily need items. It showed some promise initially, but it failed eventually. These experiences had lots of things for me to learn. Then during COVID lockdown, I joined Scalar Academy, and over there I practiced a lot of algorithms. I studied system design, and eventually I joined Amazon as an SD2. So joining Amazon was really a big thing for me. I thought that is it, but very soon I found myself in the dev plan. So for those of you who don't understand, who don't know what a dev plan is, so this in very simple words, this is basically a systemic way to fire someone. And the organization has a compulsory annual target, and they have to achieve a certain amount of, they have to basically fire a certain number of the employees. So I came under a lot of stress. I lost around 5 kgs in a couple of months, and I started avoiding calls from my families, from my friends, and that also partially explains my absence during the club meetings for some time. And during this period, I focused only on my work. I released one of the features for the company's music platform, and fast forward to that, just 2 weeks back, I came to know that my colleagues appreciate the work that I've done, and they are eager to bring me out of the dev plan right now. And as I speak in front of you right now, I am out of the dev plan. I'm safe right now. So in the end, I would say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I learned it the hard way. And from being a mischievous, breaking the rule child to aspiring to be a future entrepreneur, I stand in front of you with my icebreaker. While I do not recommend breaking the rules, I do recommend you do come out of your comfort zone and achieve more, and also ensure that you have fun all along. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anas, for that speech. Definitely, if you are in a situation and you work hard, you will definitely move out of that and learning so many things out of that. But take care of your health as well, as you told that you lost so many kgs in short span of time. To take care of health as well. So let's jump on that bandwagon again, the bandwagon of superstitions. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that superstition is very deep rooted. We don't have any logic behind most of those superstitions, but it is very deep rooted. And I somewhere believe that superstitions play with our subconscious mind. If we have practiced that superstition in a perfect manner, in a perfect step-by-step process, then we feel like that we have done something right, and it will act in our favor. Right? And sometimes people get immense confidence if they, fall into that fallacy and practice the superstition right. But I personally believe that if you are doing the enough preparation back at your home for any task, then you will get the 95% confidence from that preparation itself, and 5% additional confidence you can get from this thing to make it a 100% thing. Like I did when I touched the floor and I started my TMOD role. That additional 5% you can get from these silly things, but that 95% always comes from the preparation. Don't forget that. And now it's time for the speakers, all the 6 ice-breaking speeches, to get their feedbacks. And here comes the role of evaluation section. I will be handing over the baton to General Evaluator DTM Nibi. That's all for my role. Over and out.
Thank you, Toastmaster Akshay. Very good afternoon now, everybody. All of you are enjoying the meeting?
Yes.
That doesn't sound very promising. Okay, all right. We will start with the evaluation section, and I will invite the evaluators one by one to share the evaluation for the project. Our first evaluator works as a manager in FMCG sector, is not superstitious about anything, and is the Associate Vice President Public Relations of Whitefield Toastmasters. A big round of applause. Welcome, Toastmaster Atul Gupta.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a special one to Toastmaster Shivam. The whole thing about an icebreaker is not just to have the courage to stand here and not to just speak yourself, but also tell people who are you as a person. And I congratulate Toastmaster Shivam that he was able to tell us that he is a courageous person, that he has made a comeback at life. Twice in his incidents, as he said, he was not able to give a speech properly on 15th August, but he has excelled at it today. He was not able to crack the competitive exams earlier in his life, but he was able to ace even more difficult exams right now, right? And thirdly, he has been able to understand life, as he described beautifully, as a canvas, on a different level altogether. You have a very adequate presentation. You spoke very calmly and audibly. You had a good opening, you had a good body, and you had a good end. These all were very extremely arresting things. But on the cream of all of these, there was an additional thing that I liked the most, and that was a clever usage of humor, which you created what we call as creating a contrasting hyperbola. How did you do this? Like when he said that at age of 5, he was not able to get, he was getting as much as female attention that even BTS is getting right now. Or secondly, I noticed when he said huge audience of 50 people. That's a contrasting usage of sentences to create humor. Now, since you have already notched the level up, let me take the liberty to do some nitpickings. And the first thing that I think you can improve upon, lest it be a Toastmaster, lest it be an icebreaker only, but still the first thing that you can, that I barely could find any fallacy, but still you can improve upon, that I could recommend is that you can create a transition between two incidents when you are speaking. Like you have a good body, start, body and end, but I would like to see a transition happening from A to B to C. Like when you said about three-leg dress and how you were finding humor and not you were not very much focused upon the winning the race, but then you move on to family and societal expectations. That is the only thing that I can barely notice. But all in all, you have a very good narrative skills. You are a good storyteller. Now you have ended by setting an expectation as to what is going to come into the future. I can already see the future wherein you are having a speech and we all are expecting that what Toastmaster Shivam is going to tell us. As in Steve Jobs, he said that you can connect dots only looking backwards. But when you will look backward on your icebreaker today, I can say that it will act as a base for you to excel further. Thank you, and back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atul. I do not have much to add to Toastmaster Atul's evaluation for your speech. However, one takeaway for everybody here, whenever we mention a quote in a regional language or a language that is native for you, that may not be the native language of everybody in the audience. So when you do use it, also translate it to English in a language that everybody understands. Apart from that, kudos to you on completing your first project. With respect to evaluator, Atul, I think your evaluation was very uplifting, covered the sandwich method, and for the benefit of guests, sandwich method is what we use for evaluating members. We start with all the good points and what they did really well. We talk about areas of improvement, and we wrap up with one way the speaker can challenge himself or herself in the future. So kudos to both the evaluator and speaker. What do they deserve? I now invite our second evaluator, who is an IT professional working in LTI Mindtree. He is a little superstitious, so there's no yes or no. There is little bit. The evaluator always sees Durga Ma's photo, which is held above his door at the entrance to the house. Please put your hands together to welcome our second evaluator for today, Toastmaster Anil.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. An unprepared speech. To give an evaluation, I come prepared. But after hearing the title, I was speechless. So the title itself was very catchy. It definitely grabbed the attention of all the audience. I'm sure about that. Ideally, icebreaker speech is meant for breaking the ice, right? My speaker Nahush not only broke the ice, he also broke myths. He also broke the rules. Normally people say that we need to come prepared for an evaluation or for a speech. So he has broken it, obviously. So whatever the preparation I have made, so he had made it. My job is easy, that is obviously for sure. And there is a myth, another myth. Wherever we go to deliver a speech, right, so it requires a specific format. It requires a good introduction, the content, and it requires a good summary. I strongly believe that in all cases it is not required. In some cases it is true, but in some cases we can just go with the flow. So that is what exactly my speaker Nahush has done today. So kudos to you, Nahush. The speech has been, the most highlight of the speech is very entertaining. Humor is at peaks. I am sure everyone enjoyed your speech to the core. One suggestion from my side is that your body language is obviously good. So the comfort level, the ease at which you are giving is obviously good. So there is no doubt in that. Only thing is, you could have used the stage better. The stage movement could have been better. That is one suggestion from my side. And the way you connected with the audience, the eye contact, the body language, gestures are phenomenal. And the pauses which you are giving in the speech, the intentional pauses are also good. So it gave the scope for the audience to digest what you are speaking. That is one good thing. All in all, I can say it's a great speech. I can call it as a stand-up comedy also. So don't take it otherwise. And I would like to end my evaluation with the saying that a great humorous speaker in the making. Nahush, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anil, for that wonderful evaluation. Toastmaster Nahush, I have never experienced an icebreaker like you just delivered here today. And it just goes to show that it's not about having an opening body conclusion, but your icebreaker is just about coming here and making sure you are able to speak for 4 to 6 minutes. So kudos to you on that, and finally taking the plunge and doing it. One area of improvement or a suggestion for all speakers is that don't give out disclaimers. So this is how I prepared, this is what I am unprepared. None of us know your story here. So even if you forget something during the speech, you're the only person who knows that. None of us know what your script was. So try and avoid disclaimers when you are delivering your speech. You might be nervous. I am always anxious when I'm coming up here. However, zero disclaimers so that people focus on your project and not the fact that you weren't prepared. Alright? For the evaluator, I think this is a very good example of just focusing on the objective of the project and what is expected from the speaker. So a job well done both for the speaker as well as the evaluator. A big round of applause to both. We have our next evaluator who works as a physics teacher and has been a Toastmaster for a while. This evaluator is definitely superstitious, but only when it comes to cricket matches. During the 2011 World Cup, this Toastmaster didn't speak a word till India won the match, thinking that if he said something, India would lose. So he was just quiet throughout the whole time. Please put your hands together to welcome our evaluator, and I hope you don't stay quiet for your evaluation. Toastmaster Vamshi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Modi. I still think that India won the World Cup because of you. So coming to the evaluation, Toastmaster Bhima has delivered his icebreaker speech. It was a great speech. First of all, I'd like to tell what went right with your speech. You had a very good introduction. You started by like from your birth, so that was very good. I liked it, and you had a good voice. It was loud enough. Everyone was able to hear. That was good. And you also looked confident on stage. The stage presence, the hand gestures, the posture. You had a very good confident posture. And you have all the things needed to become a good speaker. And coming to the points where you have to improve. There were many unnecessary pauses which you had, so which you can avoid it by enough practice. And you also took the phone and saw like your script, and you were silent during that time. So what you could have done is you could have used some humor, impromptu humor, that like you forgot your speech, and you could have said something and looked at you. That would have helped the audience instead of being silent. And the use of stage. Coming to the use of stage, when you are transitioning yourself, like you went from your childhood to your school days and college days, you could have used the stage. So you could have used this as your childhood, for your childhood, and then for your school, and then for college. So using the stage, so that would have been more interesting. Sometimes you repeated the things which are not meant to. Like you said this line 2 times where they eventually made it happy, like about your neighbors. So you used them 2 times, so it was not required. And other points about your clarity was very good, like the loudness and everything, it was good. Vocal variety you need to work on. So I felt that the speech was plain all around. So you need to work more on that vocal variety. And your eye contact was static. You're only looking on like this middle. You didn't look at all the audience. So you need to work on that audience, the eye contact. Audience awareness also. You did not pause. You had some humor in your speech. You did not pause for audience to laugh and digest. So this audience awareness also you need to work. And overall, to challenge yourself, I recommend you to write your script with pen, practice in front of a mirror, and next time don't bring your phone when you're giving a speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vamshi, for that very clinical evaluation of the speaker. The speaker, Toastmaster Bhima, I think kudos to you and congratulations on taking the first step. You forgot your script in between, and that's perfectly okay. I've had to repeat my speeches at least 3 or 4 times when I started in my journey as a Toastmaster because I blacked out completely. So the fact that you were able to stand here and continue despite that deserves a huge round of applause. With respect to the evaluation, Toastmaster Vamshi, I think when we are looking at objectives, especially when it's the first speech, it's okay to refer to notes, right? And the only objective of the icebreaker is to be able to come here, stand and speak for 4 to 6 minutes. So for anyone who's taking up evaluations in the future, while it's great to show that, okay, the use of space and eye contact, I remember the first 2-3 speeches that I gave, I didn't even see the audience sitting in front of me. So let's give that benefit to people who are starting off on their journeys, because it might dissuade them to come and get started. But I absolutely love the points that you mentioned about what he did well, right? And I think that is a great way to start with evaluations for someone who's just starting off their speaking journey. With that, a round of applause to both our evaluators, Toastmaster Vamshi and our next evaluator is a philomath, loves football, music and cooking. This Toastmaster is not superstitious, but the most common superstition he has heard during childhood was about black cats being associated with black luck. He says, how little him wish to test this dark magic there. I hope you don't still live with those words. Please welcome our next evaluator, Toastmaster Aiden.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nidhi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, my target speaker, Toastmaster Vikash, completed his icebreaker. Congratulations to you. Now, from my assessment, what went well for you? For any speech, there's an attention getter. That is how you hook the audience in the beginning. For you, there were 2 parts to this. Your speech title, the best decision I ever made. That made me curious. And nextly, you started your speech with a one-liner statement. I think standing at the bottom. So that again, that was a short and powerful sentence, and the audience was definitely hooked. That went really well. You started off with a bang. Secondly, your speech had a good structure with ideal transitions. And third point, your eye contact was good, but it's still improvable. You need to look across all sides from top to back. Now, your areas of improvement. Now, coming to your attention getter specifically, being your hook, volume needs to be higher there. Standing at the bottom, illustrate it, speak it louder, they will listen to you better. And there were points during the speech you were monotonous. That means tone, pitch, the vocal variety is missing. Now, that's basically storytelling. There was a point during your speech you told this. I was eligible for getting admission, but unfortunately, finance is going to be a hurdle. Illustrate it, use vocal variety into it, like they will retain it better. And finally, to challenge yourself. That means what aren't you doing now? Let's take it a step ahead. So, body language. I feel that your posture was constant. Now, I want you to, whenever you're not using your hands, place your hands at the hip. And use mirror practice, figure out what is the ideal body language for you. Each set of words that you say has a positive and effective body language. Secondly, use humor, ask a question. Why so? For a span of 6 minutes, it is difficult for each of the audience to listen to your speech throughout. We use humor, we ask them close-ended questions to retain their attention. That needs to be practiced. And then, stage movement. So, I want you to remember that there are 3 points, middle, left, right. Each point, use transitions to move to each point, and then, say out your speech. But overall, a very strong attempt and highly confident. I look forward to hearing more speeches from you. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aiden. Toastmaster Vikas, well, yes. It's very difficult to share a difficult personal story with an unknown audience. So first of all, thank you for trusting us, the audience, with such a difficult personal story and bringing that here to speak in your icebreaker. Wonderful storytelling. With respect to the evaluations, Toastmaster Aiden, I think one is the impact of demonstrating the areas of improvement. So you mentioned about body language, about voice modulation. If you could have picked up one or two specific examples where what he did versus what he could have done, I think it will create more of an impact. But a job very well done, both the speaker as well as an evaluator. Please give them a big round of applause. Our next evaluator loves solving customer problems using technical solutions. And this Toastmaster mentions that he doesn't know about superstitions and never came across it, is never aware of superstitions. So though he is generally liberal about superstitions, he's okay for people around him to have superstitions around things. Please welcome our next evaluator, Toastmaster Prasid.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nidhi, for wonderful introduction. Just to put some thoughts on current theme of superstition, yes, as Nidhi appropriately stated my stand on the current theme, I would like to add more on that. I feel superstitions are just not, it's basically like a derived class for a super class called beliefs. And it's the basis of our life, so it's not like there have to be that negative connotation with it, but superstitions do have negative connotations with it. So with that, I will move to the evaluation for my target speaker, Ujjwal, who was attempting his L1 P1 speech, which is the basic objective of it is to introduce himself to the club and to learn the basic parts of public speaking. First of all, I would like to tell you what are the things you excelled at. You beautifully narrated all the events of your from childhood till your college and then to your work experience. There was confidence in your speech while moving. You were also moving around this stage from left towards the right. And you also had eye contact with the audience, which showed the confidence in your speech. The message you delivered was clear and crisp. Everyone was able to understand your speech. And you also used hand gestures beautifully. Though I would like to add that you can use them more to give your or add more value to your speech. With that, the things which you might want to work on, I feel in the starting you had little bit hiccups, which I feel could be more smooth and the transitions can be smoother. I also feel the audience can be engaged more by taking little pauses in your speeches and then maybe engaging the audience and asking them few questions or waiting for them to understand your message. To challenge yourself, I would tell to introduce more vocal variety in your speech, to be slow sometimes or maybe emphasize on some points which needs more volume. With that, I would like to conclude my feedback, and your speech was really good, and I think as the title says, work in progress, you believe in constantly learning and improving yourself, and that's a really wonderful speech, and your kudos for your L1 P1 speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prasid. An area of improvement for the speaker, Ujjwal. I think when you're moving and when you're talking, especially when you look down and talk, your voice is not actually well projected. So I was sitting right at the back and there were areas in your speech that I couldn't hear you loud and clear. So make sure that you're just mindful whenever you are walking around or looking down and speaking, you project your voice a little bit more for the benefit of the audience right at the back. Right? For the evaluator, Prasim, and in general for everyone who comes up for evaluations is focus on just the evaluation for the project. What happens is when we go, yes, we have a lot to speak about the theme, today being like such an interesting theme, right? However, that eats into the time of your evaluation for the speaker and being able to give meaningful feedback. So, a word of caution for all evaluators for this future is avoid talking about the theme in general or something else. Maybe when we have time, when we wrap up the meeting, that's a great time to come up and talk about members who haven't had a chance to speak. So a huge round of applause to both our speaker as well as our evaluator. Our final evaluator for the day is a freelancer, and he helps influence people build confidence and build wealth. When all known scientific and logical options are exhausted, then this Toastmaster becomes superstitious. He says that his prayer is his superstition. Please put your hands together to welcome our final evaluator, Toastmaster Gopinath. Sorry, Kevin. I do not have an introduction for Kevin ready. However, Kevin is the VP PR of the club, and he is also an active member and part of the extended Area A4 Council. So a huge round of applause and welcome Toastmaster.
Toastmaster Mohammed Anas. Breaking rules, that was your speech title. Excellent choice of title. And I really loved the speech. I hope all of you did as well. So, yeah, to start with the good part. I would say the speech is really good. You had used the word of the day fallacy, and you had included a story in your icebreaker, because that is the whole idea. People should understand more about you. And also you discussed about that story in Amazon as well. Basically you told a bit about you. This will always be there in our minds. And then you use this quote, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, which is a good usage. Yeah, just a few things that you can focus on is probably I felt there's a little bit lack of confidence. So, I can understand it's an icebreaker. You will definitely be better forward. But hand gestures is also used a little less. And the stage usage was less, considering I know that you are a dancer. In the future you will use the stage like anything, that's for sure. But then that could be looked into. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, a great speech. Kudos to you, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kevin. Feedback for both the speaker as well as the evaluator. Toastmaster Anas, I have heard you speaking in various capacities and taking up various roles. This, in terms of confidence, in terms of your content, didn't feel like an icebreaker. So I guess if you implement the areas of improvement that Toastmaster Kevin has suggested and recommended for you, I think it's a cakewalk for you, right? Toastmaster Kevin, with respect to evaluations in general, rather than being generic about areas of improvement, pick up specific examples from the speech where the speaker can implement, whether it's voice modulation, body language, etc. So with that, we wrap up the evaluations. Congratulations to all the speakers for taking your first step in your journey in public speaking. A huge round of applause for all of them. Invite the tag team. First, our timer, Toastmaster Nidhi, to share the results of the timings.
Thank you, Nidhi. So let's hear the timer report for the meeting. So all of our speakers, like most of our speakers, were able to conclude their speeches in the allotted time, and all the evaluations were also completed in the allotted time. So I'll start with the first speech for the day, which was by Shivam. He completed his speech in 4 minutes 51 seconds. The second speaker of the day, Nahush, he finished his speech in 5 minutes and 19 seconds. Bhima finished his speech in 6 minutes 23 seconds. Vikas finished his speech in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Ujjwal finished his speech in 5 minutes and 53 seconds. And Muhammad Anas, he completed his speech in 6 minutes 46 seconds, which exceeded the time limit which was given. Apart from this, talking about the evaluation, so Atul completed his evaluation in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Anil took 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Vamshi shared his evaluation in 2 minutes 54 seconds. Aiden completed the evaluation in 2 minutes 38 seconds. Prasim took 3 minutes and 1 second. And Kevin completed it in 1 minute and 44 seconds.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nidhi. I invite our counter, Toastmaster Purushottam, for the report.
So, Mohan used 5 crunch words, and speaker 1 Shivam used 6 crunch words, and Nahush used 7 crunch words, and Bhima used 10 crunch words, Vikas used 5 words, and Ujjwal used 3 crunch words, and Muhammad Anas used 6 crunch words, and Vamshi evaluator used 1 crunch word, and Rashid used 3 crunch words.
Thank you, Toastmaster Purushottam. I invite our grammarian for the day, Toastmaster Nitin, to share your report, please.
Hello again, everybody. I am back. What a fantastic day today. Marathon of icebreakers. Yeah. And I just want to congratulate all the 6 prepared speakers for their completing their ice-breaking speech today. A lot of goods today. But before I go to the goods, let me quickly touch on the word of the day. Fallacy, being used by DTM Nidhi, TM Piyush, TM Akshay, TM Purushottam, Shivam, Vikash, Ujjwal, and Anas. On the not so good use of English, there are very few. For example, a word superstition has been mispronounced, not mispronunciation, it was a different use as superstition. Banking by professional, I mean, when we are introducing someone's profession, it is banker by profession, so that can be taken into note. He can hold for that, which can be actually used as he is responsible for. And we generally have a habit of using very, very in many situations. So one of the phrase today was very, very disappointed. In spite of that, I mean, instead of that, you can use extremely disappointed. And for the good part now, lots and lots of good part today. It was filled with vocabulary that I have not used in my life. But it's a great show by most of the speakers. Demystify. TM Akshay. Inner belief, fumble, auspicious, reiterate, streak off, fighting the demons, incentive, bandwagon. What a choice of words today. Today there is a good phrase also, silence is golden than words, Toastmaster Purushottam. Toastmaster Shivam, twinkling eyes. Sporting spectacle, what a beautiful word. Hopping towards the finish line, stepping stone, knockdown, conquer. Then Toastmaster Nahush, he has just taken us on into a storm, right? Beautiful speech today. And what a good use of word. Clueless, prominent figure, narrate, culture shock, veracity, lenient. Amazing use of words guys today. And there was a good phrase used by Toastmaster Nahush. Enough for need, but not enough for greed. What a great phrase. Toastmaster Bhima, little did I know, 360-degree turn. Toastmaster Vikash, he has used a good phrase at the start of his speech. Standing at the bottom, looking at the sky, how would you succeed if you don't try? Great. obstacle, meager, frugal mindset, embrace, resonates. Toastmaster Anas, utterly mischievous childhood, aspire, def plan. One of the good phrases that Toastmaster Anas has used. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Beautiful line, beautiful line. If there is an award for using a great set of vocabulary, it would go to Toastmaster Ujjwal. I mean, his speech was filled up with vocabulary there. Leaves for food, crave attention, stellar results, disenchanted, exhilaration, absolution, deja vu, boisterous, and what does it doesn't contain. He also used many world-class phrases, proverbial middle-class dream, books as ammunition, small town syndrome, 4 years sin of not studying, culmination of part of different cities. Man, that's a lot of good use of English, and I congratulate all of you for doing this. I think I have taken a lot of time today in delivering this report, and if you permit, there is a
we have the timer. Do we have enough time to permit a minute?
not a minute. Just so today the theme is superstition, and I would like to tell you one word because I am a grammarian. Have you heard the word triskaidekaphobia? Yeah, it's a very interesting word. It actually means the fear of bad luck brought by the word or the number 30. Right, so, I mean, I never knew that there is a phobia for it. So let's call it triskaidekaphobia. Thank you.
A big round of applause to our timer, our counter and grammarian for being so diligent about taking down the nitty-gritties of everything that went on in the meeting, areas of improvement as well as what went well. Let's give them a big round of applause. Alright, one area of improvement or a tip for anyone who takes up the timer, our counter grammarian. Apart from giving up the report, can you share one tip with the audience in a way what would help them improve the timing, our counter as well as grammar, right? It's a good takeaway for all the members who attend the meeting. Moving on to my general evaluators report, I'll start with our Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Mohan. Toastmaster Mohan, I love that you started off with stating the mission or engaging the audience to see if anybody knows the mission of Toastmasters. You spoke about the etiquettes of the meeting, which I think was very important considering we have guests at the meeting today. And you had a lovely introduction for our presiding officer as well, and I'm sure Piyush loved and felt great walking onto the stage with your introduction. An area of improvement is, since you're the first person who is starting off the meeting, come with a burst of energy. And that is essentially what carries forward the meeting, right? So that is an area of improvement for you. That's a challenge that you can have for yourself as a speaker the next time you come on stage. But for a job very well done, let's give Toastmaster our presiding officer for the day, Toastmaster Piyush. Toastmaster Piyush, I've seen you in your journey when you just joined and you started your journey, and I saw you here today. It's a stark, complete 180-degree difference, right? The confidence with which you came, you were dressed for the occasion as a presiding officer. You had great guest introductions to make sure that everybody acknowledged and is aware that we have guests in the meeting. And you had a lovely introduction for a Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Akshay as well. So a job very well done. One area of improvement for you would be, could you have spoken a little bit, brought in a personal story perhaps? Maybe an inspiring story or a motivational story, so that you set the tone on a high note as a presiding officer for the meeting. So for a job very well done, let's give our presiding officer for today, Toastmaster Piyush. Toastmaster of the day today, Toastmaster Akshay. Toastmaster Akshay, you started with talking about the theme of the meeting, that was superstition. I did not find the theme of the meeting on the board today, so I was wondering, what's the theme of the meeting, went through the agenda, etc. But then as you went down to your second and third sentences, I figured out superstitions. So kudos to you on that. You also make sure that you engage the audience, and that is really important when you are trying to up the energy of the room. You explain the role of the Toastmaster of the day brilliantly well, and that is keeping in mind people who are just newly joined as Toastmasters or guests in the room. You spoke about the segments of the meeting. You were well prepared, you had done your homework, you had the introductions for everyone ready. In fact, Toastmaster Akshay helped me with the introductions for all the evaluators and sent it to me about 3 or 4 days ago. You had great introductions to all our speakers for the day, and also great connectors between the speeches. It shows that you're listening really to each and every speaker and each and every segment. So kudos to you on a job very well done. A big round of applause for our Toastmasters. Alright, overall in terms of the meeting number 31, as is now the legacy of Whitefield Toastmasters, you guys started 1 minute before the actual time for the meeting. So a big round of applause to the committee. Today's meeting was well planned, well organized. There's a huge amount of preparation that went on behind the scenes. I know VP Education Toastmaster Piyush as well as Akshay had reached out to me well in advance, reached out to the role takers, speakers, and make sure that everybody is well aware and prepared to come and deliver their roles. So with respect to overall the advancement of the club, I have seen when we were at meeting number 0 and I'm seeing when we are at meeting number 1. Don't you all agree that the quality of role takers and the preparation of role takers have improved significantly? Yes. Role takers, you can nod your head and say yes. You've done a fabulous job today. So keep it up and keep at it. VP Education and especially the XCOM, you guys are doing a fantastic job in making sure that the fundamentals are taken care of and making sure that people have the information that they need to be prepared and come for the meeting. An area of improvement, or this is an earnest request, I was a part of the role takers group and I saw that whenever there's a note put out in the group, there's barely any response. Unless and until the VP Ed and the XCOM knows what are the areas that you need support in, they will not know how to best approach you or if they need to approach you. So make sure that you're a little proactive on the group. Whenever there's a note put out by the XCOM on the group, on the role takers group or the speakers group, make sure that you respond to that so that we know that everybody is well prepared before you come here and deliver your speech or take up and deliver your role. That's all from my side today. I think we are on the right track as Whitefield Toastmasters. We've come a long way and keep at it. I have no other areas of improvement. With that, back to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster. Okay, presiding officer for the day, Toastmaster Piyush.
Thank you, Toastmaster. How is the Josh, guys?
Great.
Hi.
Just 3